I just want to draw a comparison with China, which has the ability to pump in this amount of resources. Indian government, because of the fiscal deficit, which is running quite high, and if we add all the oil and other subsidies, it is supposed to be close to 9 to 10%, is actually having a challenge in terms of how much of stimulus that they can put in without increasing inflation. So that's going to be a challenge, and we have to watch for that.
I thought maybe we'll just move on to what enterprises and companies ought to be doing now. How are they reacting? How should they be reacting? What are some of their sources for money? Is there a rethink? And any advice on how they should maybe reinvent? So let's start with Rama Rao as to what are you seeing as the company's reaction and response?
Most companies do have two types of reaction when they face a crisis of this nature. One is a short-term reaction, which I think is what you see every day in the newspapers today. You are hiring freezes, you are cutting unproductive people, you are stopping your plans of expanding. They are, I think, the short-term reactions to most corporates. We have few of them as our clients, and we do talk to a lot of corporates of all kinds. Probably I'll take a few examples without naming the companies. Let's take an IT company, an infrastructure company, do very good works till last year. Probably not so good today. I think a typical IT company, and I think in India, if you talk to the CEOs of the large IT companies, their current reaction has been to wait and watch on how the US will shape. The previous downturn in the US has been not as bad for India because outsourcing has increased because the US wanted to cut costs. This time the demand destruction, as Sanjay said, and the length of recession in the US is expected to be much longer term than before. And therefore, the Indian companies still are not sure of how that will affect their outsourcing business. So most of them currently are actually saying that let me become efficient, which is first thing is to kind of take the bottom 5%, bottom 10% of performers in the company, relieve them of the job. Two, improve their cost structures, which is good news for people like you because they actually are going to entry-level recruitments and are likely to be much more focused on entry-level recruitment for the next financial year. Three, I think, some of them are actually getting very innovative, and I think this is the first time I am hearing it. I heard it last week. Is top 4 IT companies are currently discussing the possibility of having a 2-shift operation in IT services, which essentially means bad news for real estate, but the good news is that they can actually leverage their assets twice over. The capex reduces, their cash flow is stronger, their overheads are distributed, and therefore their profitability will improve. Apparently the new thought which they are going through, apart from reducing costs and other things. So IT companies are, I think, at this point adopting a wait and watch attitude. The good news is that the new hire recruitments are going to be fine for next year. As far as the infrastructure companies are concerned, they have gone dime a dozen licenses have been signed last year. Everyone and his uncle had gone and signed an MOU with the company, with the government agency, with the private operator, gone and acquired licenses of mines across the world, and everything without actually proper capital structure planning.
Sanjay, would you have a view on what the small and medium guys ought to be doing now? And do they have a hope, considering that the big boys themselves are not getting money? Is there a hope? And what would you advise small and medium enterprises?
I have a feeling that small and medium enterprises, as kind of historically been proven, tend to bear the brunt of the attack when economies kind of slow down considerably. And I think that's certainly going to be the case here. You're hearing a lot of anecdotal evidence of small and medium enterprises, particularly in export-oriented sectors, being affected very, very significantly. I think to a large extent, small and medium enterprises, by their very nature, don't have the level of flexibility and the level of organizational and financial strength to be able to kind of withstand a very severe crisis. I think to that extent, depending on the sectors they are in, they are actually going to have to be extremely flexible, because I don't think you can kind of plan a business as usual kind of an approach. There's obviously a limit to how much you can kind of tighten your belts and do things. And I have a feeling you are going to see liquidity kind of probably returning after a significant lag to this group of entities. There will be businesses in niche sectors with a kind of either a particular proprietary technology or a focused product, which will survive and in fact prosper. But if you're in a kind of Me Too kind of a segment and are small in this market, I think it's going to be tough